Ahoy! And Keeps Gaming here, and today we're doing another Smash Bracket reaction, Banjo and Kazooie versus Yoshi. Not a big fan of Banjo, as you know, and don't know much about Yoshi, so we find out. And yeah, if you guys like this video, please subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you guys don't miss any live streams or videos I do. And also I got my Smash Bracket bingo card, which is down there, so make sure you guys follow along and try and see if you can guess right or wrong of what other character wins or loses these Smash Bracket fights. I'm a massive fan of Smash Bracket. Ink thinks he's my friend, and the only way I can truly support him is like telling people to go subscribe. I've subscribed himself and like the videos he does, and even more so reactions and stuff and everything like this. This is how I do it anyway, because as you guys know, with living and bills and having a daughter of myself, it's kind of hard to like pay out for much, of anything. So yeah, all my money goes to bills. Ink wants me to react to this, and I don't mind doing it because he's a friend, and this is the way I show my support. So anyway, let's get straight into it. So Banjo Kazooie, as you guys know, if you follow along with my Smash Bracket bingo card, the ones I got right and wrong down there, not looking too good. The family I got right. I think, in my personal opinion, even though I don't like Banjo, it probably will be Banjo, but I don't want it to be Banjo at all, because I don't like the game Banjo's from. It's not the game itself, it's the matter of the controls. If you guys, I'll put a link into the description and in my cards on the right hand corner, like that way, of my whole playlist of Banjo Kazooie, which I recently uploaded from my old channel. You can see why. It's the camera angles, it's terrible. In my own personal opinion, I think Banjo's going to win, but I don't want him to win. I want it to be Yoshi, but we'll see what the analysis says. If you guys don't know, we analyse each character, or Smash Bracket analyses each character, and then I either change my mind or I don't, and we'll figure out if I'm right or wrong. Anyway, let's get right into it. Oh.
What would happen if two of Smash's most egg-centric animals went toe-to-toe in a fight to determine who would come out on top? I'm Ink, and this is Smash Bracket, a show dedicated to solving that exact question. If each playable character from the Super Smash Bros. Series was entered into a giant fighting tournament using them at the peak of their strength, who would be victorious?
Who will it be?
The rules for the series are on screen now.
A bit more louder.
Link for a further breakdown in the description below. With all that in place, let's find out which of these exoteric excellence has more to shell out in this egg-shellerating crackdown exhibition. Let's get into it.
I can be louder because it's not late. It's actually during the day, so I can be loud. And I'm not unwell. Whoa, what is that?
Friendship?
Hang on.
Someone who's always there for you.
What is
someone
this?
You can talk to. The anime power to destroy gods.
Okay.
How about someone who keeps you locked up in their backpack and often uses you as a gun? For Banjo and Kazooie, they fall into that final category.
I understood that reference.
Over the decades, this bear and bird duo has traversed many adventures, often in service of fighting the evil witch Gruntilda. Gruntilda is your stereotypical run-of-the-mill witch who flies on a broom, brews potions, and constantly tries to steal Banjo's sister, Tootie, in order to steal her beauty mark and make her ugly just like Gruntilda. That is such a strangely specific evil plan.
As I
mentioned, this witch-fighting duo is made up of two halves, a honey bear named Banjo and a breagle bird named Kazooie.
They didn't show sexy Gruntilda. I don't mean anything by that, but they didn't show it. If you got the bad ending, if you got the game over. Anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, Google it. Or maybe not. Anyway.
Banjo made his first appearance in Diddy Kong Racing and stands at, well, actually his height is a little bit complicated. If you go off of the measurements of items in Banjo's games and the fruit and enemies and size required to perform the feats he does, like running on water, he consistently measures in at around 6 inches. I made a whole video about it over on our crew channel. Everything lines up so perfectly, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids and the developer of Banjo Kazooie replying to me on Twitter saying that he always thought he was the height of an average bear. That is unfortunate. I thought I was really onto something. Anyway, Banjo stands at around 5 feet tall and is a light-hearted, well-meaning honey bear.
I'm taller than Banjo!
Attitude wherever he goes. His friend Kazooie, on the other hand, is a bit of a jerk sometimes. All in good fun, though, as she and Banjo bicker and tease their way through the world. Kazooie is the complete opposite of Banjo in terms of personality and number of wings.
Yeah, I haven't played the second one.
She's a wisecrack and often starts her fights with insults. But she does more than just serve as the game's version of vicious
I heard the next Banjo Tooie is actually quite better than the first one.
and
But
is
I don't
often
know.
used as a gun, club, bomb factory, or
Those of you who watch my channel and if you've seen, oh, next one's the Minecraft one. The next game apparently in Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie, I believe, is apparently better than Banjo Kazooie. But the camera angles, the first one's terrible. If you guys watch my playlist of Banjo Kazooie and want to watch me suffer more, then just ask me to play Banjo Tooie if you really want. It's up to you guys. It's entirely up to you. Anyway.
a drill, and sometimes even a form of transportation. When they work together, Banjo and Kazooie have a ton of tools at their disposal, such as gliding, swimming, and even breaking the fourth wall. That's right, this bear and bird have the power that Bill Cipher wishes he had. They're often seen talking about how they're in a video game and describing game mechanics. They aren't just all quips and fourth wall breaks though. Kazooie wields the magic wrench, which houses many different abilities. It can shoot a tractor beam to lift and throw objects, summon vehicles with frickin' laser beams attached, or just dish out a good old-fashioned wrench whacking. Banjo and Kazooie aren't just limited to fighting with hardware though. They've also developed a plethora of abilities to utilize in combat, the most famous of which is the Wonder Wing, a powerful tackle that makes the duo invincible as they charge forward. But they can also shoot explosive eggs with a variety of elemental effects, fire miniature mechanical exploding Kazooies, or even use Kazooie like a high-powered drill to break through large boulders. And this fighting prowess extends to both the air and underwater as well, making them truly all-terrain fighters. For example, the underwater attack Talon Torpedo is strong enough to break apart massive boulders and even steel doors. Arsenal aside though, Banjo and Kazooie have some pretty substantial mobility as well. Kazooie can sprint fast enough to run across water while carrying Banjo, and the team can launch themselves into the air with the springy step shoes or walk on walls with the claw clamber boots.
That's
Together,
if you
these
add them
friends
to
have
this
truly
fight.
been through thick and thin. By which I mean they've been exploded by thick crates of TNT and flattened totally thin by a hydraulic press and the massive Stomposaurus living up to its name and stomping the duo into a bear and bird cake. But at the end of the day, Banjo and Kazooie have truly had each other's back.
Boss
through the best
fight
and
was
worst
so
of times.
destroying.
And it's this exact friendship and teamwork that will carry them into
Just couldn't
future
do it, but I did it in the
adventures and a
end,
bright future.
off stream, when I didn't stream. Oh, what? This is just... Oh, hang on. Hey, wait. Oh, God. What was that? And, yeah, Wonder Wing, completely invulnerable. Not many games, though, Banjo hasn't got any, but it's got like 3. I might be wrong. There might be more. What I've seen anyway. I think there might be a GBA one, maybe. I can't honestly remember. I know there's obviously Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie, and then Nuts and Bolts, Banjo Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts. I don't know if there's any more. Yoshi's got a heck of a lot more games, I think, underneath his belt. So at the moment, I'm maybe leaning to Yoshi because it wasn't even that much, it seemed like, for Banjo. But that's just me. But anyway, Yoshi.
It's often said that the surest way to reach new heights is by standing on the shoulders of giants, or more related to today's fighter, jumping off the shoulders of dinosaurs and sending them falling into pits of death.
Oh no.
Today we're talking about Mario's most used and abused sidekick, Yoshi.
Did you have to put
Yoshi's often seen in mainline Mario games, being able to give an extra jump or protect Mario from buzzsaws and spikes, but Yoshi doesn't let this grim fate get him down. Every single person who's played a Mario game will know the pure joy and adrenaline that pumps through you when you find one of these adorable dinos to help you through a level. And this same upbeat, happy atmosphere carries on to Yoshi's own games as well. Yoshi, whose full name is apparently T. Yoshisaur Munchakoopas, alright, comes from the aptly named island of Yoshi's Island. One day after a chance encounter with a red cap wearing infant, the two teamed up to fight against the evil Kamek and his master Bowser. As the years went on, Yoshi and Mario continued to find each other and team up to fight various enemies and thwart Bowser's nefarious
lot more
plans.
experience.
And along the way, Yoshi developed some really reliable methods of dealing with enemies in his path, such as kicking them, jumping on them, or his preferred method, eating them whole. That's right, Yoshi can eat just about anything, after which he turns them into eggs relative to their size. He can even do this to metallic enemies to create metal eggs, which is really just a roundabout way to say cannonballs. With this simple slurp and poop 1-2 combo, Yoshi can eat his way through most of the Mushroom Kingdom. But anyway, moving on from a digestive system more confusing than the size of Kirby's planet, almost, these eggs follow Yoshi around and can be thrown as a powerful projectile. And these are no soft-boiled eggs either. They're strong enough to break apart large amounts of stone, making them his go-to weapon in a pinch.
The enemy's still inside when he does that?
These eggs can crack out is no joke. But even without these eggs, Yoshi doesn't really need to scramble in order to find other options in combat. His tongue is super long, sticky, and prehensile, meaning he can use it to grab onto things like a monkey's tail. allowing Yoshi to fling himself through levels, pull enemies toward him, and swing them around, or even just use it as a tongue-shaped punch. Why do I talk about so many tongues in the show? With an eater as freaky as Yoshi, it's no surprise that his palate is unparalleled. There's an assortment of fruits that Yoshi can eat in order to gain special abilities. For starter, he has 3 flavors of juice spray, which he can fire from his mouth, with effects that vary depending on what fruit he consumes. If he eats a papaya or pineapple,
That's orange
he can use
Yoshi.
the orange spray, which turns his enemies into a stationary orange platform. If he eats a banana or coconut, he can use the pink spray, which turns them into vertical moving platforms. And if he eats a durian or pepper, he can use the purple spray, which turns enemies into horizontal moving platforms. And all of these abilities are put on display in one of Super Mario Sunshine's most infuriating obstacles. But there's a reason that Mario brought Yoshi along on this adventure. He's not only versatile, but he's also incredibly mobile as well. He's fast enough to run on water with the dash pepper, and he can also jump higher than Jumpman himself, with the ability to take that height even further with his signature flutter kick. But if that isn't taking him to high enough heights, he can sprout flutter wings, allowing him to fly even further. If Yoshi wants to clear levels without needing to eat his opponents, he's also got plenty of vegan-approved abilities as well, such as his standard items from the Mario series. These range from the famous size-increasing super mushrooms to the power flower, which allows him to breathe fire. The turbo tulip launches him as an egg extremely fast, and the Starman can make him invulnerable to everything in his games. Anyway, if Yoshi needs the ultimate nutritional boost, he can eat the heart fruit, which makes him invincible, gives him unlimited eggs, and extends the duration of his flutter jump and tongue range. When all of this versatility is combined with the fact that Yoshi can survive being shot by a freaking cannon through a brick wall, it's clear that Yoshi is no pushover. He's been a force of positivity and gross mouth noises in the Mario franchise for decades, and anyone who faces off against him in combat will find that things are not going to go over easy. But with all that said, it's time for our fight. But first, I want to challenge you to a race. See if you can type a comment telling me who you think will win and why before I finish telling you about Team C's.
I'm
if you do,
already
you win
behind.
1,000.
This is how far Team C's
Smash
was ago.
bracket
I'm
points.
so far
That's
behind
okay.
all this.
All right, ready, go. Now, I'm sure that you've all heard of this by now, but Mr. Beast and Mark Rober are teaming up to help keep our oceans clean. This level of philanthropy is like Tony Stark was here in our real world and wanted to help clean out our oceans of trash with automated robots. Every dollar you donate will be used to take a pound of trash out of the ocean. My wife and I have personally donated, as well as other members of our team. If you want to help keep our oceans free of trash and help fund an awesome ocean robot, use the link in the description below. DM me on Twitter if you donate, and I'll happily give you a video shout out on Twitter. But with all that out of the way, let's get into today's match between Banjo Kazooie and T Yoshi Soar Munchakoopas to find out who will advance on to the next round of the Smash bracket and who will be eliminated. Let's get into it.
So, no thanks, League of Legends or whatever that is. So, see, it just seems like Yoshi's got a lot more stuff going for him. He's got, not only he's got like more attacks, been in more games and stuff like this. He's got so many more power-ups. I bit my tongue. So many more. Speaking of tongues, so many more power-ups and everything going for him. More games and everything, like as I said. Banjo, he's only got like, as I said, like I think he's only got 3 games. Might be maybe 4. I don't really know, but it doesn't seem like he had a lot. He's got like one invulnerability, invincibility sort of move, and that's it. Yoshi's got 1 too when he eats a fruit. But depends on how that's going to implement in the battle. I don't want Banjo to win, even though there's a lot going for Yoshi anyway. So I'm just going to say Yoshi. I'm going to think Yoshi's going to win this. Let's go. I like how they did this for the trailer. Crash, yeah. Oh, what? Okay. Waluigi, alright. Oh, well, there goes Waluigi. Can't believe that animation budget went to this. Oh, it's Jiggy back. Oh. Oh, that's just rude. Come on, Yosh. Oh, grenade. Smacked into nowhere. Whip around the tree and give him a kick to the face. I was gonna eat. Oh, but this. Oh, maybe not. Ow. Okay. Oh, kick through the tree. Bit Dragon Ball Z. No, this is cool. Oh, machine gun fire eggs right into his face. That's enough. Ugh, he got liquor tongues. Oh, it's like his tongue's official. Bam, bam, bam. That's cool. I like that. Some market. Oh, poor Kirby. Why Kirby? Why can't we have the Koopa with like the stand getting always injured? I think Ink doesn't like Kirby. Did Kirby win? I can't remember. I think Kirby won, didn't he? And making him stronger. Did he? Oh, yeah, okay. Orange. I don't know what. I can't remember what. Oh, it's purple. Sure. Okay, here we go. Gold wings? Did I miss something? Okay. Yoshi went Super Saiyan wings. Oh, did he use invincibility? Sorry, what did he use there? Okay. Do love these animations though. Oh, they should have done the home run back. Like, but then, I guess you can't do it for every single back. Okay, just power driving. Separate, yeah. Yeah, invincibility. I wonder if he uses Wonder Wing. I want to see a fight with invincibility. Just do literally nothing. I think they did it in Death Battle. No, didn't they? It was Mario vs Sonic, but they did like Metal Cap versus Super Sonic. But it's kind of like it, I suppose. But I want invincibility versus invincibility. That would be so funny. Didn't do anything. Just with the tongue. Why would you stand there laughing? That big scream. Ooh. Ding!
And there you go! This battle ended up boiling down to a version of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. Both characters were much tankier than what their opponent could meaningfully dish out in combat, meaning that a lot of the fight came down to whose arsenal allowed for a greater variety of win conditions. I think that it would be useful to see how each of these fighters' best stats stack up when paired directly against each other. But first, I want to quickly mention our stance on a couple of Yoshi's feats that you're almost certainly going to see brought up in the comments below, and by anyone who tries to make Yoshi seem incredibly powerful. The first of these comes when Yoshi seemingly launches Raphael the Raven far into space and turns him into a constellation. This happens at the end of Yoshi's Island, but isn't as impressive as it may initially seem. First of all, you can't actually hit something so hard that it turns into a star, let alone a constellation. This just isn't something that can be calculated, and it's not a show of strength. What we could do is potentially treat it as a transmutation binary ability, rather than pretending that it's something that would make sense to calculate as a strength feat. But what we think is the best way to handle this feat is to measure how far Yoshi can knock Raphael into the distance before he's no longer visible. That way we can keep things in the realm of what we can reasonably measure and calculate with real numbers. And this didn't end up being any more impressive than Yoshi's other feats. I also see people scaling Yoshi to Mario, saying that he could be launched through launch gates in Super Mario Galaxy. But even if we ignored all of the context of how these work and used the most generous interpretation that I can find online of this launch distance speed, which is 820 trillion times the speed of light. Holy crap, calm down, people. Even if we used this speed, it would only be simple reaction speed with our speed criteria, and it wouldn't be enough for a usable combat speed. In fact, Yoshi and Banjo are somewhat unique in not having very many feats at all that transfer into usable combat speed. They can both run decently fast, but that doesn't matter too much in a fight like this. And there's a couple other commonly cited feats that would be worth debunking, but I don't want to spend that time in this video. Rather, I'll do a podcast over on our crew channel with Real Lemon handling all of those questions and going into incredible detail. Speaking of our lead researcher, Real Lemon, I'm going to pass the mic over to him to give a detailed breakdown on how these characters' best stats stack up to each other. Take it away, Lemon.
Hey Ink, let's take a look at some of the numbers on what these characters can do. While Kazooie can smash his face through giant boulders, and Banjo can throw over a dozen tons of gold like a basketball, their most impressive offensive feat is actually just using a grenade. Here, we can see how the size of the block compares to Banjo's height. That's enough for us to measure that this block has over 66 cubic meters of stone. By treating this as violent fragmentation and accounting for the time frame of the attack and Yoshi's surface area, this grenade would have an intensity of 842 kilowatts per centimeter squared. Banjo and Kazooie aren't slouches when it comes to durability either. We have seen a number of cartoony feats from them, but their most impressive feat is surviving being stepped on by the Stompodon. This is huge and stretches far above the clouds. Using what we can see of the dinosaur, we can estimate this thing to be standing at 534 meters tall, which is considerably taller than the Empire State Building. What's more impressive than its height is how hard the thing can stomp. By estimating its mass and adjusting for the velocity of its step, we can calculate that Banjo is withstanding an intensity of 14.92 gigawatts per centimeter squared, which is more powerful than the launch of a space shuttle. This puts Banjo's durability well above anything Yoshi can dish out. While you might think that Yoshi's most impressive showing is hurling gigantic metal eggs or launching himself at high speeds through large amounts of stone, his most impressive feat of strength is a deceptively simple egg toss. These eggs are like bullets compared to the massive surface area of Yoshi's more flashy showings, and that means that their intensity shoots way up to 57.08 megawatts per centimeter squared. Yoshi just can't even scratch Banjo, and since Banjo has access to invincibility and Kazooie can slap Banjo back to life, this makes physical attacks a pretty underwhelming option for Yoshi. But Yoshi was also too durable for Banjo to easily deal with. We're treating this explosion from a Nintendo Power comic as Yoshi's best feat, which comes in at an intensity of 16.8 megawatts.
Yeah, I don't think they showed that, did they? That's the thing.
But anyway, now that I've put the audience to sleep, I'll pass the buck back to you, Ink.
Thanks, Lemon. As you can see, when it comes down to it, both of these characters could hit each other all the livelong day with very little progress. But where Yoshi truly took the lead was his versatility. He's been shown to knock enemies into space to finish a fight, but he can also easily transform enemies into platforms to take them out of the fight or just eat them entirely. And Banjo's shown before that he's pretty susceptible to transmutation like this. In the end, Banjo was a formidable opponent, but Yoshi just had what it took to crack out a win. Yoshi is the winner and will be moving on to the next round of the Smash Bracket. Next time on the Smash Bracket.
Yes, 4-way, wasn't it? I can't wait for this one. I think it's going to be good, this one. Okay, which we've seen. Okay. Yeah, all right. But yeah, so yeah, we got this one right as I thought I would, but I didn't want Banjo to win anyway. So it's just, I thought Yoshi just had more experience, power-ups, durability, and all that compared to Banjo. Banjo's had a few games. I think it depends on the amount of games as well. Like, but then I guess it can also backfire the amount of games because they could find some weaknesses that didn't know before. So I guess it's kind of like either way, you know. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction. Please go subscribe to Smash Bracket, and I think they're doing another channel called Crossover Coliseum, which is not like Smash related, so go subscribe to that as well. And the Crew channel, I think they've got 3 different channels, kind of like me, just for like 3 or 4 different channels now. So yeah, go subscribe to that, and if you guys enjoyed this reaction for any reason at all, please subscribe, like, and turn notifications so you guys don't miss any live streams I do or any video uploads I do. And I'm sorry again guys, these are coming out late, as I just recently moved, become unwell, they're not unwell, then unwell, then not unwell, just constantly, and then trying to find the time for this because it's very quite hard, you know, having a young one and just haven't got the time for much. It's like literally work, family, stream or record. It's just no time for anything else. So thank you guys for watching. Always remember to keep gaming, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.